Okay, so we're going to start with the first question, which is what is your full name?
Kayla Rain McIntyre Brown.
Okay, and why did your parents select this name for you? Did you have a nickname?
Never. It was just always Kayla Rain. Okay.
Well, why did they pick this name? You
I
don't know?
don't know.
They just did.
Mm-mm.
Okay. When and where were you born?
May 16th, 1943, in the LDS hospital in Salt Lake. It was late at night. My dad did not have a car, and so he was up at the hospital. It was when it was up in the avenues, and I was born like 11 o'clock at night, and the buses had stopped running. My mother's doctor was not married. His girlfriend was sitting out in the car waiting for him. They were supposed to be on a date. And he had to take my dad home to Centerville before they could go anywhere.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Pretty crazy.
That's fun. That's a good story. Um, how did your family come to live there?
In Centerville,
Mm-hmm.
my dad lived there. He was growing up there. Grandma and Grandpa came from England and settled in Centerville. And my dad grew up in one house, and then after he and Mother got married, they moved into the house across the street from it. And Grandpa and Grandma moved to Omaha.
Oh, so the church that's there now wasn't there?
No, their house was east of our house.
Oh.
We lived in a little log cabin that was half log cabin and half rock. There was the living room was log cabin, and then they added on a rock bedroom on the east end of it, and then a kind of a lean-to porch thing on the back that was the kitchen and another bedroom. My dad enclosed it for a bedroom for my two sisters. And then when Mother was expecting me, she told him she could not get up in the middle of the night and go out to the outhouse every night. And so he added a bathroom in the back porch. We had a fire-burning stove to heat the place in the living room. And it was very primitive. It was fun.
So when that's not the house that Dale's in now.
No, my dad started building that house when I was 2.
Okay.
And my mother and dad drew the plans and sent them to my grandpa, who was a draftsman for the railroad, Union Pacific in Omaha. And he made blueprints out of it, made it so that they could get permits to build and all that stuff. And every time they made a change, they had to send them to him, and he'd change the blueprints.
Well, that was nice of him.
Yeah, my dad was building the house, and it was cinder blocks. He built that house out of cinder blocks.
So there's cinder blocks in the walls?
That's what the walls are.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
And it doesn't have a basement. It's got a cement floor.
Mm-hmm.
And the furnace is in the base, is under the floor, and all the ducts are under the floor.
So how do you get to them if you need to? You don't.
You have to when they were built, my dad sent my sister through the ducts to bring out the wood to make the ducts, and she had to go in and bring all these out. She was scared to death of spiders.
Oh, I can see that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that would be scary.
But it's just got the heating ducts all through the floor.
Wow. That's quite the house.
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't think it, though, when you look at it. You wouldn't think it was built that way.
I know.
They did a good job with it.
They had siding put on and made it look real pretty, but it's very different. Dad had never built before. He's like Doug was when we built our cabin, how he got books. Let's do this. Okay, let's get a book and find out how to do it.
Yeah.
My dad built the house.
Oh, that's okay. That's awesome. Okay, so let's see.
When I was 9 years old, the house was built, finished.
So it took
Took 7
7
years.
years. Wow.
When we moved in, the old house had skunks living under it, and it was rotting the wood.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dad called up the fire department and got permission to burn it down. Don't come put the fire out.
Uh-huh.
And they came over to watch it and make sure it didn't get out of control. But they set a fire in the kitchen cupboard, and within just seconds, the front door was on fire. That's
Oh, wow.
what a fire trap it was.
Oh, scary. I'm so glad you didn't
Yeah.
die in it. Wow, Mom. That's crazy to think about. What kind of games did you play growing up?
My dad built us a giant swing in the backyard.
Was it like-
a swing on?
Was it like the one at the cabin where you just swing way out?
Mhm.
Fun.
And he took an old springs, a bed springs, and tied ropes to it and tied it to the trees. So it was like a hammock out there that we could play in.
Grandpa was really inventive. What kind of
He
things
was.
did he do
He
besides that?
was musical.
Yeah.
He could play just about anything, from whiskey bottles to a saw, to, I don't know, everything.
He made everything fun, didn't he?
He did. When we were kids, I remember trees being toppled in the backyard, old trees taken out and just left there.
How big was the land that you lived on when you were a kid?
It was a quarter of a block.
Oh, wow. So that's pretty big. We think that's like 5 acres,
I
maybe?
don't, probably.
Okay.
And the neighbor kids and Dale and I would go out and reenact the radio shows that we listened to. Flash Gordon,
Mm-hmm.
these space adventures.
So fun.
And the trees were our spaceships.
That sounds like a kid thing to do.
We used to have night games, play Bright Eyes and keep away from cars, and climbing up in the apricot tree and eating the apricots and stuff like that.
So you had fun is what you're
Of
saying.
course.
What was your favorite toy and why?
My favorite toy?
No?
Just the swing. I loved that swing. It was fun.
Yeah. I like swings
Like
too.
12 feet high.
Wow.
It was big.
Could you pull it back and then jump on it, or was it just one that you just
It was
pushed
just a
back
big
and
long
forth?
rope
Okay.
swing.
Okay. Oh, that sounds
It's
fun.
fun when my dad would push me high.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your favorite thing to do for fun? Movies, beach, etc. That's it. Oh.
We didn't have a lot of movies. We didn't have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But on Friday nights, the town would have movies down at the old, what do you call it? Like a big dance barn thing. Right there on west of the church, there was a big building that was, I can't
Like a
remember what it was
recreation
called.
hall or
Kind of.
something?
And they had roller skating down there. They had movies. Yeah, I think it was like 5 cents or 10 cents to get in.
Wow.
And Mother would always have corned beef and cabbage and hot dogs. Not corned beef. Potatoes and cabbage and hot dogs for dinner on Friday nights. And then we'd have to eat all that before we could go to the movies.
Eat your food.
Yeah.
I love it.
One time when I was little, Mother used to put dinner for Sunday dinner in the pressure cooker and leave it cooking on the stove, and then run home between meetings and check on it, turn it off, or whatever it needed doing. And this one day, when they went home to check on the dinner, it had a piece of potato or meat or something got caught up in the vent, and built up too much pressure and the pressure cooker exploded. There was dinner all over the kitchen. I mean, it was just like somebody painted the house with pot roast and gravy,
Oh.
carrots and potatoes. It was a mess. And the lady west of the church heard about it and invited our whole family to come over for Sunday dinner.
Oh, that was nice.
Mother wouldn't go. She stayed home and cleaned.
Oh.
Send all the kids over.
Oh. That was nice of her. Wow. I don't think I would have, I think I would have gone and eaten first. Made everyone come back and clean too. That was nice of her.
I didn't like their dinner as well as ours.
Well,
I remember
no.
what she fixed.
What school activities and sports did you participate in?
I didn't do sports. I wasn't very athletic.
Yeah.
I liked to embroider,
Okay.
play on the, well, we did play in the playground, giant strides and...
Didn't you
bars.
sing too? It seems like you sang.
Junior high.
Yeah, that's fun to do.
We put on operettas. The Love Pirates of Hawaii.
I don't know that one. I'm going to have to look it up.
I think you're sitting on it. I think it's in that stool.
Did you have any pets? And if so, what were their names?
No, my mother was allergic to animals and she didn't have any.
And she was scared of dogs too, wasn't she?
She was terrified of dogs. She used to send, she'd fix dinners and send them to people that needed them in the town. And she'd make Shirlene and Marge take them. And she would call the neighbors along the way and make them take their dogs in as her children passed so that they wouldn't be attacked by their dogs.
That's really scared.
Yeah, it was interesting when I met Doug and he had Nell. I'd never been around dogs before and here's this big, huge, I don't know.
How did she take to Nell? Did she just, what, how did that?
Mother didn't, but Nell was always down at Doug's house. Mother didn't go down there.
Okay. And I remember Sparky was really loud and Grandma would come
She
over.
didn't like Sparky.
No, she didn't, because she was so loud.
I had to put her in the bedroom whenever she came.
Oh my goodness. Okay, what world events had the most impact on you while you were growing up? Did any of them personally affect your family? Oh, maybe that plane. Well, it's not a world event, but...
That was an event, wasn't it? That was just before I was born, actually. Like in April, and I was born in May.
Okay, you have to go back and explain the story.
Okay. On this was a Sunday, and my family was going to walk from Centerville over to Bountiful to Grandma George's house for Sunday dinner. And Mother made them clean the whole house before they did, put everything away so it was all neat and tidy. And then they walked over to Bountiful, and when they came back, there was a plane crashed on the front lawn. This man had been flying his plane and dipping the wings of the plane to wave to his girlfriend down below, and hit a telephone wire or something and crashed on the lawn. And everybody coming out of church, of course, rushed over and helped him out of the plane and took him in the house and found towels and bandages to take care of him and got him to the hospital, but he died.
Oh.
And when we came home, there was this, well, when they came home, I was not born yet, but they came home to a plane crashed on the front lawn.
Oh my goodness.
All the notoriety from it.
Wow.
When Doug was on his mission, when he got released, I flew to Minneapolis to meet him, and his parents drove to Minneapolis to meet him. And they all met me at the airport. And then we all drove home together. And the day after we got home from Minneapolis, we heard on the news that President Kennedy had been killed.
Oh.
So that's a way to remember when it was.
Mm-hmm. So you were doing something kind of because of his mission, and you were going to meet with him.
Yeah, he came home from his mission with us, and
Wow. It's kind of crazy how those things can get stuck in your head, huh?
uh-huh.
You can remember exactly what happened.
Yep.
Have a look at this. Shouldn't have closed it. Okay. What do you know about your family's surname?
McIntyre is very Scottish. My grandmother could not understand her father-in-law because he spoke with such a broad Scottish accent. And my grandpa and his dad met with, I think, their mother, and she had met the missionaries and didn't realize who they were, but she believed what they had told her and wondered why they didn't come back again, you know. And then Grandpa and his dad met these guys and talked to them and decided they believed them too. So they had met different missionaries, but they all had the ring of truth in it.
Mm-hmm.
They all believed it. So they didn't live in Scotland at that time, I don't believe. I think it was in England. But they definitely came from Scotland.
So they lived in England for a bit before they came to America?
The McIntyres lived in England, yes.
Okay.
And then he met Grandma there. My grandpa he was left-handed. And back in those days, being left-handed was not a good thing. You just don't do that. That's being naughty.
Oh.
They tied his hand behind his back and made him learn to write with his right hand. And then he got so good with his right hand and his left hand that he made a living doing calligraphy for the courts and lawyers and things. And Grandma had a round hand. She didn't do the calligraphy, but she had very distinct lettering, and she made a living writing also. That's how they raised the money to come to America.
So how old were they when they came?
They had one little girl,
Okay.
just newlyweds.
Oh, that's neat.
Uh-huh.
It's a neat story. So when did they come to Utah? Did they?
When they
Is
first came,
this the grandpa that was? I get them mixed up. But is this the grandpa that was the judge?
no.
No, this is Dad's side.
Uh-huh.
That's Dad's
Judge
side.
was
Okay.
Grandpa's side.
Okay.
No, this was Grandpa McIntyre. He came, when they came across from England, they came right to Utah. Their sponsors were here in Utah.
Okay.
And they got an apartment, rented somebody's house, part of a house, and then eventually bought a house
In Bountiful?
in Centerville.
Oh, Centerville. Okay. And that's that we've got pictures of that house that they lived in, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. I think I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. And their boys remodeled it, yeah.
I think so. I think I've seen it. Wow, there's so much history, Mom.
A lot of years.
Okay, so how and when did you meet your spouse? What did you do on your dates?
I had a girlfriend in high school, and she said, "How would you like to go on a blind date with my cousin?" And I didn't want to, but she finally talked me into it. And we went to a New Year's Eve dance. It was one of the stakes all put on New Year's Eve dances back then. And we went to a dance. And then dated again and again, and then he went on his mission, and I joined the missionary club. A group of girls all waiting for missionaries, and we called ourselves I'll Be True. We put on sacrament meeting programs. We met in each other's homes and had slumber parties and just did all kinds of fun things together. One time they came to my house and we had the wife of the MTC president there to talk to us about our missionaries. And we got the biggest turnout that night of any. I mean, people that didn't belong to our club all came. We had like 30 people there. It was crazy.
That's fun.
It's a fun group.
Yeah. What did you guys do on your dates before you got married, or even after?
Dinners, movies.
Just the same old stuff.
Just
Do any of them stick out?
one time their Sunday school had a camp out up at Hardware Ranch. I don't remember if it was their bishop or their teacher that owned part of the ranch, and had them all come up there. The girls all got the bunkhouse and the boys got the barn, and Doug invited me to go with him. We went horseback riding up there and just camped out. It was fun.
So that's where I get my camping from, you guys.
Yeah. Doug loves to camp.
Let's see here. Why did you choose your children's names?
We liked them. Some of them were harder to choose than others. I remember when Gary was born, we could not think of a name. We finally got his name while we were in labor in the hospital. So yeah.
Okay. What was your profession and how did you choose it?
I just kind of fell into it. It was what everybody did who was a girl, being a secretary. And as I started at Granite Furniture, well, I started way back in Beeline Refinery as in accounting. And then I quit and had all my kids, and then I started at Granite in accounting again. And they moved me into the payroll department, and I had some people that I worked with who taught me computers, how to figure spreadsheets and things like that. And I enjoyed it. And the more I learned computers, the more I liked it. And so then I got a job being secretary at the Department of Agriculture and learned even more. They would send me to school to training from computers. It was fun.
That's fun. I like school.
I do. I like school. The more I can learn, the better.
We should
I always
take a
want to
class
learn
together. We should take a class together. What is the one thing you most want people to remember about you?
Oh, I don't know. It's a hard one. I have no idea. I didn't beat him up. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what to say to that.
How about a testimony?
Definitely, I have a testimony of the gospel. I know the church is true, and that Joseph Smith was a prophet, and President Monson is a prophet now. I remember President McKay was a prophet all the years I was growing up. And I was in Salt Lake in a store with my dad, and we got in the elevator with President McKay, and just being there with him, you just knew, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That white hair and those clear eyes, he was just beautiful, just glowed. Yes, I definitely have a testimony of the gospel.
Okay. Is there anything you want to tell your posterity?
Oh, I'm not very good at extemporaneous speaking, so no.
All right.